a digital haze, looking for love in modern days. 21st century dating decoded. The official Speed Mingle podcast. Yeah, 21st century dating decoded. The official Speed Mingle podcast.
You know, it's funny. Usually when we talk about like a medical diagnosis,
Right.
there is this underlying expectation of total precision. It's comforting, really. It's almost like engineering.
Oh, absolutely.
You fall off your bike, your arm swells up, you go to the hospital, and the x-ray shows that, that stark, jagged white line across the bone.
Yeah, exactly. The doctor just points to the glowing screen and says, there it is. There's the problem.
Right. It's a beautifully binary system, broken or not broken.
You don't have to guess. The fracture is visible, the treatment plan is standardized, and you can just categorize the issue neatly into a little box.
Exactly. But then, and this is the thing, you step out of the hospital and into the world of adult human connection.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
And suddenly that incredibly precise x-ray machine is completely shattered. We are looking at a social landscape for adults right now that is, well, honestly, it's just a murky, chaotic mess.
It really is. It is the absolute definition of diagnostic muddy waters.
And if you are listening to this and your calendar is packed and your free time is precious, you know the exact exhaustion I'm talking about here.
That digital burnout.
Yes. You finally close your laptop after like 9 hours of back-to-back video calls. You collapse on the couch with your takeout and you open up a dating app.
And what happens? You just start endlessly swiping.
Right. It feels less like looking for a partner and more like joylessly shopping on Amazon for a human being.
Yeah. Or maybe you go to a professional mixer, clutching a lukewarm drink, scanning name badges.
Ugh, the worst.
And you're just having the exact same transactional conversation on a loop where everyone is secretly calculating what you can do for them.
Okay, let's unpack this because that sterilization, that absolute digital burnout, is exactly what we are focusing on today for this deep dive.
It is a massive issue. And the grand irony of our era is that we are technically more connected than any humans in the history of the species.
Digitally speaking, at least.
Digitally speaking, yes. Yet functionally, we are experiencing this profound isolation. The very tools we built to streamline connection, the algorithms, the filters, all those endless digital screening mechanisms, they have actually sterilized the human experience.
So we are diving into an enormous stack of source material today from a company called Speed Mingle. And what's wild is these guys have actually been operating since 2001.
Which is incredible.
I mean, in the digital age, holding on since the era of dial-up internet practically makes them an ancient civilization.
Yeah, they've seen it all.
We are going to dissect the core differences between the traditional, highly rigid speed dating model that everyone knows and this incredibly fluid, unique system that Speed Mingle has developed specifically for busy professionals.
And what's fascinating here is the sheer scale of the problem they're attempting to solve.
Oh, the failure rates, right?
Exactly. Our sources highlight a truly staggering metric. Approximately 90% of traditional speed dating companies that launch eventually fail.
90%. That is a massive attrition rate for any industry.
It's huge. And they aren't failing because people don't want to meet each other, They fail primarily due to two systemic issues.
Which are?
The events themselves are agonizingly poor in quality, and more importantly, they suffer from catastrophic failures in data security.
Which leads to the unauthorized release of participants' personal information, which is terrifying, frankly.
It is a massive liability.
But what's so cool about their approach is how they're trying to fix this broken landscape. It's this wild hybrid model.
Right. They are blending highly advanced, fiercely guarded digital privacy algorithms behind the scenes.
With literally the lowest tech thing you can imagine in the room. Analog, cardboard games.
It is the strategic deployment of both high-tech firewalls and low-tech friction. It's a brilliant paradox.
So if the old way is failing 90% of the time, what actually is the old way versus what these guys are doing?
Let's look at the actual format.
Yeah, traditional speed dating relies on a structure that the sources literally describe as a rigid conveyor belt.
A perfect description.
I mean, it sounds like a frantic game of musical chairs played in a sterile corporate office. You sit down for a highly structured one-on-one mini interview.
And it lasts exactly 3 to 7 minutes.
Right. It is just you and one other person staring at each other across a tiny table while a literal clock ticks down.
And that ticking clock completely alters human behavior.
How so?
Well, when you are under that kind of artificial time constraint, your brain goes into cognitive overload.
Oh, sure. You panic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Evolutionary psychology dictates that under pressure, we default to heuristics, mental shortcuts.
So you aren't actually getting to know them.
Not at all. You aren't seeing the complex human sitting across from you. You are rapidly, almost subconsciously, comparing them to a pre-existing, highly rigid checklist in your head.
Like, do they have the right job title? Are they the right height? Did they stumble over their opening sentence?
The bell rings, you start sweating, you just blurt out your resume.
Hi, I'm Dave. I do software sales. I like hiking. Please like me.
It's awful. It feels like a high-stakes job interview where you are assessing their visual appeal, processing their nervous banter, formulating a charming response, and deciding if you want them in your life, all in roughly 180 seconds.
Which naturally encourages performative behavior, right? Rather than authentic behavior.
Yes, it's a rehearsed script. But Speed Mingle completely upends that architecture.
Right. They throw the one-on-one hot seat out the window entirely.
Instead, they use a fluid, group-based protocol. You are placed in a group of 4 to 6 people.
And the connection block lasts for 10 to 15 minutes instead of 3?
Exactly. And here is a structural shift that fundamentally changes the dynamic. The sources explicitly state that these tables might not even have an even gender split.
Wait, hold on. Uneven gender splits.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm going to a dating event, isn't the entire point to have exactly 10 men and 10 women perfectly matched up?
Well, that assumes the intent is purely romantic.
Right.
And strictly binary, which is the exact flaw of traditional speed dating.
Okay.
The typical attendee at a standard event is a single person actively looking for romance. You either want to date the person in front of you or you don't. It's zero sum.
So what does Speed Mingle do differently there?
Speed Mingle broadens the intent to encompass the entirety of adult social needs. They offer 4 distinct, equally valid connection paths.
Networking, friendship, casual fun, and a date.
Exactly.
But, okay, let me push back on this. What does this all actually mean for the experience at the table?
Sure.
Because if I have a packed schedule, right, and my primary goal tonight is to find a romantic partner, let's say I'm officially on their dating dynamo path, doesn't the group setting completely dilute the romantic potential?
How do you mean?
Well, if I am stuck in a group of 6 people for 15 minutes and 3 of them are just there to network for their digital marketing agency, doesn't that just kill the vibe? I feel like I'd be frustrated that I'm not getting one-on-one romantic screening time.
That is the natural fear, yes.
Yeah.
But it actually operates as a far superior filter.
Really? Why?
Because romance rarely sparks in a vacuum of forced interrogation. It sparks in shared moments of unscripted humor, in observing genuine competence, in watching someone navigate a complex social dynamic.
Oh, I see. So in a group of 6, the intense spotlight is completely diffused.
Exactly. You aren't on the hot seat. You can literally lean back, take a sip of your drink, and just observe.
You get to see them in their natural habitat, basically.
That is the critical mechanism here. Observation. You get to witness how someone interacts with a room, which is an infinitely better indicator of their actual character than how they answer a direct question while sweating under a ticking clock.
Like, do they monopolize the conversation, right? Or how do they handle it when someone else is talking?
Yes. Do they gently draw the quiet, introverted person into the dialogue? Do they share the spotlight?
Okay, yeah. If you see someone skillfully and charismatically navigating a conversation with, like, a digital marketer and an accountant, making everyone at the table laugh.
Your attraction to them is based on their real-world social baseline, not a rehearsed 3-minute pitch.
Yeah. That makes so much sense. It honestly sounds less like a desperate musical chairs interview and way more like a curated, sophisticated cocktail party where you actually have some agency to control the narrative.
And because the time block is 10 to 15 minutes, there is ample space for organic micro-interactions to occur within that larger group.
Like exchanging a knowing glance with someone across the table when another person says something funny.
Exactly. Those micro moments build real chemistry.
But let me play devil's advocate here again, because we have all been to a cocktail party where the conversation goes completely off the rails into sheer boredom.
Oh, sure.
If mingling diffuses the pressure, how do you prevent these 15-minute group chats from devolving into agonizing, superficial small talk? I mean, 15 minutes trapped in a conversation about local traffic patterns or the weather with 5 strangers sounds like my personal nightmare.
Which is precisely why an unguided group conversation would fail.
Okay.
And that leads us to the analog tool they deploy to bypass the superficiality.
Yes, the cardboard, the 52 plus 2 card game.
It's a physical deck of 54 cards that Speed Mingle engineered specifically to circumvent the small talk trap.
So when you sit down at the table, the cards are just there.
Yep. They're there to facilitate seamless introductions and plunge the group directly into profound, or at least highly engaging, explorations.
We really need to dissect the psychology of this because the what do you do question is the absolute bane of adult existence.
It really is. It plagues networking mixers, it ruins first dates, it infects every social interaction.
Right. When someone asks you, so what do you do? You instantly go on autopilot. You have your elevator pitch ready. It's your verbal resume.
You aren't communicating, you are just reciting.
And the 52+2 deck seems designed to aggressively break that autopilot.
It forces cognitive presence.
Yeah.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, think about the efficacy of digital screening versus this kind of organic discovery.
Yeah.
When you look at a highly curated, deeply filtered digital profile, you are only seeing how that person wishes to be perceived.
Yeah.
You're reading their PR campaign.
Right. It's totally artificial.
But when you are sitting in a group and someone draws a physical card with an unpredictable prompt, you are watching them react in real time.
Can we act this out for a second?
Sure.
Imagine we're sitting at the table. We don't know each other's jobs. We barely know each other's names. Someone flips over a card. Instead of asking about the weather, the card says, I don't know, let's invent one based on their philosophy. What is a strongly held belief you've completely reversed your opinion on in the past 5 years?
Oh, that is a phenomenal example of a pattern interrupt prompt.
Right. Because if you ask that, no one has a rehearsed elevator pitch for it.
No, not at all.
You literally have to pause, search your brain, and be slightly vulnerable. And as I'm watching you answer that, I'm learning so much more about your intellectual humility, your values, and your sense of humor than I ever would by knowing you are like a senior VP of operations.
Exactly. And what's crucial here is the psychological safety that the physical card provides.
What do you mean?
Well, adults are constantly managing their image. We carry immense, deep-seated anxieties about saying the wrong thing, crossing a boundary, or just appearing weird or uninteresting.
Oh, for sure.
If you, as an individual, just sat down at a table of strangers and randomly asked, what belief have you reversed your opinion on? People might look at you like you are wildly intense or socially uncalibrated.
I'd look like a complete weirdo, like I'm trying to psychoanalyze everyone over appetizers.
Precisely. But the analog game provides a sanctioned, externalized framework.
Oh, I see.
It shifts the burden of the social risk from the individual entirely onto the card. The card asks the profound question, not you.
That is brilliant. It gives everyone at the table permission to drop the facade and engage in a deeply interesting conversation without the fear of social judgment.
It gives you permission to be interesting.
I love that. In a world where we are entirely dictated by digital algorithms feeding us our next dopamine hit, pulling out a physical deck of cards feels so incredibly grounded.
It acts as a social anchor.
Yeah, you can't swipe away a person who is looking you in the eye and answering a thoughtful question. You have to practice active, empathetic listening.
It forces you to remain in the friction of the present moment.
But wait, this raises a massive logistical question for me.
Okay.
If we are tossing out the small talk and we aren't using digital profiles to screen each other, how do I even know the person sitting across from me has anything in common with me? I mean, if I'm just showing up and sitting down with 5 random strangers, aren't we just flying completely blind? That sounds like a recipe for a horribly mismatched disaster.
This is where their behind-the-scenes technology comes in, the Smart Sync matching system. It acts as the invisible safety net.
So they aren't just throwing random bodies at a table.
Not at all. Before you ever walk into the venue, their algorithm is categorizing individuals based on shared core interests while deliberately ignoring traditional demographic factors.
Okay, break that down with me because this feels controversial.
When you register, you select your primary intent. So networking, friendship, dating, or casual fun.
Right.
Then you select your core passions from a proprietary list. Categories like adventure, arts and culture, food and drink, health and lifestyle, or intellectual stimulation.
And what are they intentionally leaving off that registration form?
Age, race, and gender.
That is a wild departure from the norm.
It really is. They maintain a strict open age policy. Anyone Tom 1 and over is welcome to attend, though our sources do note the typical crowd clusters between their mid-30s to early 60s.
Okay.
And they are fiercely uncompromising on this philosophy. Their official policy explicitly states they will not offer a refund if no one in a participant's preferred age group attends the event.
Wait, really? No refunds?
No refunds. Furthermore, they enforce total demographic blindness leading up to the night. No head counts, no age ranges, no gender ratios, no racial breakdowns are disclosed prior to or even after the event.
So what does this all mean in practice? Because I have to challenge this model. It feels like it's asking a massive amount of blind trust from the consumer. Let's say I'm a 35-year-old guy. My time is money. I am paying $40 plus fees to find a date for the weekend.
Right.
Isn't it wildly frustrating to walk in completely blind to the demographics of the room? Like, I could sit down at my first table hoping to meet a woman my age, and I'm staring at three 60-year-old men who want to talk about arts and culture. Doesn't that feel like a bait and switch?
It absolutely requires a leap of faith, but it simultaneously forces us to confront and challenge our deeply ingrained assumptions about what actually constitutes compatibility.
How so?
Think about how dating apps have trained us over the last decade. We rely on brutally strict demographic filters.
Yeah, you set your slider to 32 to 38 years old within a 10-mile radius with a specific educational background.
Exactly. You draw hard mathematical lines in the sand. But human connection fundamentally resists arbitrary parameters.
We filter people out before they even have a chance to speak.
Exactly. And the speed mingle philosophy argues that sharing a deep, passionate worldview, perhaps a mutual obsession with intellectual stimulation or health and lifestyle, is a far more potent foundation for a relationship than simply being born in the same 3-year window.
It's forced open-mindedness, basically.
It is. By stripping away the demographic data, they are actively deprogramming the transactional nature of modern socializing.
Okay, but what about my hypothetical scenario?
Let's revisit that because it perfectly illustrates the power of the multi-path system.
Right, the 35-year-old guy with the three 60-year-old men.
Yes. In a traditional romance-only speed dating event, that 15 minutes is a catastrophic failure. You sit in awkward silence, staring at the clock, feeling like you wasted your money.
Total nightmare.
But in a speed mingle event, because the intent is fluid, that table instantly, organically shifts to the networking or friendship path.
Oh, I see.
You pull a 52+2 card, you get into a robust debate about modern architecture or classic film, and suddenly, one of those 60-year-old men turns out to be a senior executive in your exact industry who becomes a career-changing mentor.
Or, maybe he has a 35-year-old daughter he introduces you to next weekend.
Precisely. The long game.
Wow. The apps have completely rewired our brains to demand immediate short-term romantic returns. We look at someone and think, if this person isn't my future spouse, this interaction is utterly worthless.
Right. And speed mingle is structurally enforcing the idea that every human interaction has immense value, provided you are open to finding the right path for it.
True efficiency in human connection isn't about sorting through people faster. It's about removing the superficial labels that prevent us from seeing their humanity in the first place.
Beautifully put.
But, and this is a big but this intense commitment to demographic blindness ties directly into something even more crucial, which is their broader, almost militant approach to participant data security.
Yes, this is massive.
This might actually be the biggest differentiator they have, and it brings up a fascinating friction point. Let's talk about the privacy paradox.
The stakes here cannot be overstated.
Yeah.
We mentioned the 90% failure rate of traditional speed dating companies.
Yeah.
Our sources explicitly link a massive portion of those failures to the unauthorized release of personal information.
Walk me through a disaster scenario of how that actually happens at a normal event.
Imagine you go to a typical speed dating night in a hotel conference room. You have a paper scorecard.
Right.
You write down your full name, your phone number, your email. At the end of the night, you hand that physical paper to an overwhelmed event host.
And they just lose it.
Maybe they lose it. Maybe they carelessly leave it on a table.
Yeah.
Or worse, maybe they intentionally give your phone number to a participant who demanded it, even though you explicitly checked no next to their name.
Oh, God. Suddenly you have a stranger texting you, tracking down your LinkedIn, figuring out where you work.
Exactly. For anyone, but especially for women or individuals with a high public profile, that is a profound violation of safety.
It's chilling. So Speed Mingle's countermeasure is this anonymous profile matching system that protects privacy both before and during the live events.
Yes.
When you arrive at the venue, you use your first name only. That is the hard rule.
No last names, no company emails, no phone numbers are allowed to be exchanged verbally or physically during the actual event.
They safeguard all of it behind their firewall.
And the post-event mechanics are entirely digitized to maintain that barrier.
Yes.
You aren't handing a paper scorecard to a stranger.
You log into the web app, right?
Right. Participants log into the SmartSync web app. They review the compatibility percentages based on their pre-selected interests. They see the profile pictures of the people they met. And here's the most critical: detail matches are dispatched 1 to 2 days post-event.
Wow, a built-in delay.
Yes, and only if there is mutual double opt-in interest can you use the in-app chat feature to initiate contact safely.
Okay, hold on. I need to push back on this because I see some major practical hurdles here for the busy professional.
Okay, let's hear it.
Let's look at the networking side of this first. If you and I are at an event and we hit it off on the networking ascent path, let's say we realize we are both in tech marketing, we have incredible synergy, we are bouncing ideas off each other, but we are literally forbidden by the rules of the event to exchange last names or company details right then and there.
Right.
Doesn't that completely stunt the networking process? I mean, in business, you want to strike while the iron is hot.
It is a completely valid concern. The immediate gratification of sliding a Golden Boss business card across the table is denied.
Which is frustrating.
It introduces artificial friction, yes. However, we have to look at the counter-argument regarding who this friction actually serves.
Okay.
Does prioritizing data security prevent meaningful professional chemistry? Or does it isolate and protect it?
Right.
I would argue that for high-level professionals, this anonymity is a massive, highly sought-after advantage.
I'm not seeing it. How's not being able to hand out my card an advantage?
Well, this raises an important question about the nature of power dynamics in networking. Imagine you are a C-suite executive or a highly successful local business owner.
Sure.
At a standard networking mixer, the absolute second you reveal your title or the name of your prestigious company, the dynamic shifts. People stop talking to you, the human being, and they start exclusively pitching to your wallet.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
They want a job, they want seed funding, they want a favor, they want access to your network. You spend the entire evening on the defensive, fielding superficial interactions.
You just become a target, a stepping stone.
Exactly. Anonymous matching specifically liberates high-level professionals because it completely shields them from being pitched, stalked, or harassed.
It forces the other person at the table to network with you purely on merit.
On merit, conversational skill, and shared intellectual interest. If you were a CEO and you have a phenomenal conversation with someone as just John or just Sarah, you know their engagement is genuine.
Because they don't know you're the CEO.
Right. And when you eagerly match with them on the app 2 days later and finally reveal your title, the foundation of the relationship is already rooted in authentic mutual respect, not opportunism.
Oh, that is brilliant. It is the ultimate gatekeeper. I really want you, the listener, to imagine that scenario.
It's a great thought experiment.
Imagine walking into a room full of sharp professionals where you absolutely cannot rely on your job title, your income bracket, or your company's prestige as a crutch.
Yeah.
You can't just slap a heavy business card on the table and let the embossed logo do the heavy lifting for your personality.
Right. How would you fare?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Would your insights, your humor, and your actual character be enough to secure a meaningful connection?
It acts as a profound social equalizer.
But let's flip the coin and look at the romantic side of the privacy paradox.
Okay.
Does this mandatory cooling off period prevent meaningful chemistry from taking root? Say I meet someone, we use the 52+2 cards, we have this incredible 15-minute conversation, the sparks are practically burning down the venue.
Yeah.
But because total data privacy is maintained, I have to literally walk away from them at the end of the night, wait a full 24 to 48 hours in silence, wait for an email notification, log into a web app, and send a text chat.
Right.
Doesn't that artificial barrier completely cool off a hot spark?
It might extinguish a purely impulsive, fleeting physical spark, yes. But it protects, solidifies, and actually enhances genuine psychological compatibility.
Really? You think so?
Absolutely. If the connection was real and rooted in substance, waiting 48 hours to chat on an encrypted app is not going to destroy it. In fact, the psychological anticipation can significantly heighten the romantic tension.
Distance makes the heart grow fonder, even if it's just 2 days.
Precisely. But more importantly, from a safety and comfort perspective, it entirely eradicates the immense, awkward pressure of the end-of-night phone number exchange.
Oh, that is true.
Think about how many times people, again, predominantly women, have felt cornered into giving out their real phone number or a fake number simply to avoid a public confrontation or an uncomfortable rejection in a parking lot.
Chemistry control. That is the exact phrase they use in the sources. You hold all the cards.
Yes.
Yeah.
You get to go home, sleep on it, sober up, evaluate the interaction clearly, and decide if you actually want to pursue it from the absolute safety of your own couch a day later.
It empowers the individual with absolute, uncompromising boundary control. I love that.
It is incredibly smart design.
Okay, we have covered the theory. We've talked about the fluid rules, the psychology of the cardboard games, the blind algorithmic matching, and the intense privacy firewalls.
Now for the practical application.
Yes. Let's take all of this abstract theory and look at how it actually manifests in the physical world. Let's analyze a specific, real-world upcoming event detailed in the source material.
Ah, yes. The hook, line, and speed mingle.
Right. This is part of their second Sunday summer series, and it's scheduled for July 12, 2026, right in the sweet spot of the evening from 4:30 p.m. to 7:00 p.m.
And the venue is key here.
Yeah, the venue they selected is a place called Slick Lips Seafood and Oyster House, located right on Palafox Street in Pensacola, Florida.
Analyzing the choice of venue is critical here, because in the speed mingle protocol, the physical environment is doing half the work of the algorithm.
It really is. The source material paints a very vivid picture of how they set the tone before you even walk through the door.
Starting with the dress code.
Yes. It's upscale casual, but they literally refer to it as the dress as if you were with your grandmother in public rule.
Which is just objectively hilarious.
It is. But it sets such a perfect, clear boundary. If grandma wouldn't approve of the neckline or the ripped jeans, change your outfit.
It establishes a baseline of mutual respect and effort without demanding intimidating formal wear that makes people feel stiff.
And we have to contrast this sensory experience with the sterile, frankly awful environments we usually associate with professional networking or speed dating.
Oh, the hotel conference rooms?
Right, close your eyes and forget the fluorescent lit windowless hotel conference rooms that smell like stale coffee and anxiety.
And forget the eardrum-shattering, bass-thumping nightclubs where you have to scream yourself hoarse just to ask someone where they are from.
Exactly. Slick Lips is described as having incredible, fresh coastal vibes. You are in Florida, right by the water.
And we must look at the specific culinary elements provided in the sources, because food acts as a powerful sociological lubricant.
Oh, absolutely. This isn't just a cash bar with sad pretzels.
No, they are featuring craft cocktails, boutique wines, and a highly specific menu of small plates.
The menu they included sounds phenomenal. Listen to this lineup. Char-grilled garlic, herb, and Parmesan oysters.
Amazing.
A smoked tuna dip served with crackers. BBQ shrimp seasoned with fresh herbs and Cajun spices, served with crusty French bread for dipping.
It just sounds so good.
Fish tacos with a mango papaya salsa and a habanero citrus aioli. And there's even a lobster roll with tarragon aioli.
What's fascinating here is the tactile nature of that food. Notice how this specific type of menu works in perfect tandem with the chemistry control of the event.
How do you mean?
Oysters on the half shell, dips, peel in each shrimp. This is highly communal, highly interactive food. It gives you something physical to do with your hands, which drastically lowers nervous energy.
It's a built-in fidget spinner for adults.
Exactly. It provides immediate, low-stakes conversational on-ramps.
Yeah.
Sharing a platter instantly breaks down the invisible physical barriers at a table of strangers.
It's messy. And it's fun. You cannot take yourself too seriously or maintain a pretentious, icy facade if you are wiping Cajun butter off your chin from a BBQ shrimp or trying to gracefully balance mango salsa on a fish taco.
No, it forces a shared humanity.
Precisely. The entire atmosphere, the coastal backdrop, the upbeat but conversational level music, the tactile communal food is engineered to support the fluidity of those 10 to 15-minute mini connections.
It is designed to feel like you were invited to an exclusive, sophisticated summer dinner party thrown by a mutual friend, rather than feeling like a clinical social trial.
I have to describe the event poster imagery we have in our sources too, because marketing is reality in these situations.
It perfectly captures what they are going for.
It does. It has this great retro nautical aesthetic. There is a stylized fish on a hook, a smiling, relaxed couple holding drinks out on a wooden dock with a beautiful sunset behind them.
Yeah.
There's a classic oyster basket with a shucking knife, and a vibrant cocktail with a fresh lime garnish. That imagery completely signals a relaxed, upscale social gathering.
It does not look like a desperate meat market, and it doesn't look like a stuffy corporate LinkedIn mixer.
Right. And if we reflect on those 4 fluid choices participants have at the end of the night, networking, friendship, casual fun, Basis this specific setting at a seafood house organically supports every single one of those outcomes.
You can easily transition from talking industry shop over a craft beer to laughing hysterically over a shared plate of oysters.
To quietly assessing deep romantic chemistry while looking out at the coastal sunset. The venue does the heavy lifting for the social transitions.
It provides the perfect warm environment to just sit back and let the 52+2 cards do their magic.
So let's bring this all together. Let's synthesize the journey we've just taken through the murky waters of adult connection.
We have thoroughly contrasted the rigid, romance-only, high-pressure, anxiety-inducing conveyor belt of traditional speed dating
with the highly fluid, multi-path, heavily privacy-protected ecosystem of speed mingling.
Yes. We looked at the very real exhaustion of digital burnout that so many of us are feeling and how Speed Mingle is offering a genuinely fascinating hybrid approach to cure it.
They're using highly advanced demographic blind algorithms behind the scenes to ensure you are sitting with people who share your core passions while keeping your personal data locked down tight.
But then they deploy physical analog games, a literal deck of cardboard cards, to foster real, unscripted in-person chemistry.
It is the masterful strategic deployment of friction.
They completely remove the negative friction of demographic bias and privacy fears before the event, but they intentionally add the positive friction of analog, face-to-face game mechanics during the event to force genuine authenticity.
Yes. So, to you listening right now, I want you to consider your own social habits this week.
Are you relying way too much on digital screening?
Are you trapped behind your phone, swiping away potential friends or partners based on an algorithm's arbitrary parameters?
Would you benefit from surrendering control?
Exactly. Walking into an open-age, demographic-blind live setting where you just sit with 5 strangers, eat some char-grilled oysters, pull a card, and just see what happens.
It requires a leap of faith to let go of the filters, but the architecture of the event is specifically designed to catch you safely.
Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with a final provocative thought to mull over, building on everything we just discussed.
Okay.
We've seen how Speed Mingle's model of total demographic blindness and interest-based matching might just be the absolute most effective way to build genuine human connections. And the fact that they've survived in a brutal industry since 2001 heavily suggests it works.
It certainly does.
So my question is, will the future of all our societal infrastructure eventually have to adopt this concept of blind mingling?
Oh, wow. That is a profound extrapolation to consider.
Think about corporate hiring. What if you didn't know the age, gender, race, or educational background of the people in your interview group, and you just had to sit around a table and solve a complex problem together?
Right.
Or what about how we form our neighborhoods? What if housing and zoning were grouped by shared passions like community gardening or technology or the arts, rather than just being segregated by income brackets and property values?
What if, in order to heal our societal divides, we are eventually forced to use systems that make us see each other's shared humanity and core interests before we are ever allowed to see our demographic differences?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it suggests a very hopeful truth. True efficiency in human connection isn't about building better algorithms to sort people faster.
It's about intentionally removing the labels that prevent us from seeing them clearly in the first place.
It's incredibly powerful stuff. We started this deep dive talking about how adult connection is murky, how the precise X-ray machine of socializing is broken.
But maybe we don't need a cleaner X-ray.
Maybe we just need to sit around a table, draw a card, share some messy food, and get comfortable navigating the muddy waters together. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Thank you for listening
and watching on the new Speed Mingle TV network.